All right, folks, get ready to dive deep as we explore Chapter 4 of Deep Roots.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting.
I know, right?
Water management and soil moisture.
Yeah, buckle up because we're going underground
We are
to uncover how water moves
literally
and what that means for, well,
everything.
everything.
From your backyard garden to massive construction projects.
This stuff is the foundation
It really is.
for so much.
Whether you're a homeowner, a gardener,
Yeah.
even involved in city planning.
So Chapter 4 breaks it down into 3 key areas.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding water table dynamics,
Okay,
water retention and drainage,
right.
and irrigation practices, and soil moisture.
Big one.
Yeah, so let's start with that water table.
Yeah, it's not just some abstract concept of
Right.
thinking about it. Knowing where your water table is can help
Oh.
you predict things like basement flooding risks.
Oh,
Or even determine the best location for a septic system.
I never even thought about it that way. So the water table isn't just about how deep you can dig before hitting water.
Right.
It has these real-world implications.
Yay. Huge.
Huh?
The water table, it's that invisible line
Uh-huh.
between saturated and unsaturated soil.
Right.
Below it, the soil is completely saturated,
Right.
like a soaked sponge.
I gotcha.
But above the water table, there's this mix of air and water,
Right.
which is vital for plant roots.
Yet to breathe.
Yeah, they need to breathe.
Okay, so if you're planting something that hates wet feet,
Oh, for sure.
you need to know where that saturation line is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
And here's where it gets really fascinating.
Yeah.
The water table, it isn't static.
Oh, right.
It fluctuates based on rainfall,
Okay.
the surrounding landscape, even human activity.
Oh, wow.
You might think you have a low water table, but
Uh-huh.
your neighbor's excessive irrigation
Right.
could be pushing it higher without you even realizing it.
Wow, so there's this unseen interconnectedness
Oh, yeah.
going on beneath our feet.
For sure.
And speaking of interconnectedness,
Okay.
I've always wondered about those urban parks.
Yeah.
Built in areas that used to be, well, not so park-like.
Yeah.
How do they deal with potential water table issues?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Urban green spaces,
Uh-huh.
they often face unique water management challenges.
Right.
You might have a high water table because of all the paved surfaces.
Right, yeah.
Preventing natural drainage.
Makes sense.
So landscaping in these areas
Uh-huh.
often requires clever solutions.
Oh, okay.
Installing drainage systems,
Mhm.
maybe choosing plant species that tolerate those wet conditions,
Right.
or even creating rain gardens to help absorb that excess water.
It's like they're designing a whole new ecosystem
Pretty much.
from scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
But what about the flip side?
Okay.
A water table so low
Mm-hmm.
that it's practically bone dry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What then?
Well, that poses a whole different set of challenges.
Right.
Think about, those beautiful desert landscapes.
Uh-huh. With cacti?
Cacti and succulents, yeah.
Right.
Those plants have adapted
Yeah.
to survive with very minimal water,
Oh.
often with incredibly deep roots
Oh, wow.
to reach moisture deep underground.
So it's all about working with what nature provides.
Exactly.
Right.
You got it.
Okay.
And understanding that water table
Uh-huh.
is also crucial for agriculture.
Right.
Imagine you're a farmer in a region
Yeah.
with a naturally low water table.
Okay.
You'd need to irrigate strategically
Right.
using techniques like drip irrigation
Uh-huh.
to deliver water directly to the roots
Okay.
and minimize that evaporation.
So smart.
Yeah.
It's amazing how everything comes back to this one concept,
Right.
the water table.
It all starts there.
Yeah, but you mentioned it fluctuates.
Yeah.
So it's not just about knowing where it is,
Right.
but how it changes
Exactly.
throughout the year, right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seasonal changes, droughts,
Oh, yeah.
even heavy rainfall can cause significant water table fluctuations.
And these fluctuations can have major impact,
Oh, for sure.
not just on plants,
Uh-huh.
but on entire ecosystems and human activities,
Right.
like farming or construction.
Absolutely. Big time.
So if you're building a house, for instance,
Uh-huh.
knowing the potential range of the water table is crucial
It is.
for designing a foundation
Right.
that won't be compromised
Yeah.
by shifting water levels.
Exactly.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And that's why
Ah.
regular monitoring of the water table
Okay,
is so crucial.
gotcha.
It's not a set it and forget it situation.
Right.
You need to keep an eye on it to make informed decisions
Okay.
about water management and land use.
All right. So we've established that the water table
Yeah.
is this dynamic force.
For sure.
we need to respect and understand.
And big time.
But let's zoom in a bit.
Okay.
What about the soil itself?
Right.
How does it manage all this water it receives?
Well, that's where water holding capacity comes into play.
Right.
Think about the texture of soil, the size of the particles, and how they're arranged.
Right.
Clay soils, with their tiny, tightly packed particles,
Okay.
act like a fine mesh net,
Mm-hmm.
holding on to a lot of water,
Wow.
sometimes as much as 40% by volume.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've noticed that my clay soil stays wet for ages
It does.
after a good rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, on the other hand.
Okay.
Sandy soils have larger particles,
Uh-huh.
more space between them.
Okay.
They're like a coarse sieve,
Right.
letting water drain through easily.
Gotcha.
They might only hold about 10% water by volume.
Ah, so that's why my potted plants with that light, fluffy potting mix
Yes.
dry out so quickly.
Exactly.
It's all about the particle size
Mm-hmm.
and those tiny spaces between them.
You got it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but it's not just about texture.
Okay.
Organic matter plays a crucial role, too.
Right.
Think of compost as a moisture magnet.
It acts like a sponge, soaking up water and releasing it slowly,
Okay.
which is great for plants.
So adding compost is like giving your soil a superpowered hydration boost.
It really is.
Right.
Yeah.
But what about those spots in my garden that are always soggy,
Oh, yeah.
no matter what?
That brings us to the all-important topic of drainage.
Right.
But I think that deserves its own segment.
Yeah, we've only just scratched the surface here.
We have.
Stay tuned, listeners, as we delve into the fascinating world of water retention and drainage
It could be good.
in the next part of our deep dive. Welcome back, everyone. We're picking up right where we left off, diving deep into the fascinating world of drainage.
Ah, drainage.
It's one of those things that often gets overlooked.
Yeah, until it becomes a problem.
I know, right? But understanding how to manage water flow in the soil,
Mm-hmm.
it's essential,
It is.
not just for preventing soggy basements like mine,
All right.
but for healthy plant growth
Of course.
and even successful construction projects.
Absolutely. So let's unravel the mysteries of drainage.
okay.
Starting with, well, what exactly is drainage?
Right.
And why should we care so much about it?
In the simplest terms,
Okay.
drainage refers to how easily water moves through the soil.
Okay.
Good drainage means water can infiltrate the soil,
Uh-huh.
percolate down through the layers without getting stuck.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But why is it such a big deal if water hangs around for a while?
Sure.
I mean, plants need water, right?
They do,
Yeah.
but like most things in life, it's all about balance.
Okay.
Too much water can be just as detrimental as too little.
Oh, wow.
When soil becomes waterlogged,
Mhm.
it creates anaerobic conditions.
Anaerobic conditions.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It basically means there's not enough oxygen in the soil.
Oh, okay.
And just like we need oxygen to breathe,
Right.
so do plant roots
Okay.
and all those beneficial microorganisms
Mm-hmm.
that live in the soil
Right.
when oxygen is scarce. It can lead to a buildup of harmful substances
Oh.
that can damage or even kill plants.
So it's like the soil is suffocating.
Kind of, yeah.
Yikes.
And aside from the detrimental effects on plant life,
Okay.
poor drainage can lead to a whole host of other problems.
Like what?
Soggy lawns, muddy gardens,
Oh, yes.
structural damage to buildings,
Wow. Okay.
even increase the risk of mosquito breeding grounds.
No one wants that.
You know,
Okay, now I'm really starting to see why drainage matters.
it's important.
But what causes poor drainage in the first place?
Right.
Is it just bad luck?
Mhm.
Or are there things we can do about it?
There are definitely factors
Okay.
that contribute to poor drainage.
Right.
Soil type is a big one.
Oh, right.
Remember how we talked about clay soils
Yeah.
having those tiny particles that pack tightly together?
Like a super absorbent sponge?
Exactly.
Yeah.
While that's great for holding moisture,
Yeah.
it can also make it difficult for water to drain through.
Okay.
On the other hand, sandy soils have larger particles
Right.
and drain quickly,
Okay.
sometimes too quickly,
Yeah.
which can lead to drought stress for plants.
So it's a bit of a Goldilocks situation.
It is.
Not too slow, not too fast.
Right.
But just the right drainage
Yeah,
for the plants and the environment.
exactly. But
Yeah.
soil type isn't the only culprit.
Okay. What else?
Compaction is another major factor.
Right.
When soil gets compacted,
Uh-huh.
those tiny air spaces between particles
Okay.
get squeezed out,
Right.
making it harder for water to move through.
Ah. So that's why my garden paths, which get a lot of foot traffic,
Yeah.
feel so hard and compacted.
It is, yeah.
It's like the soil is being suffocated from above as well.
Precisely.
Wow.
And compaction can happen at different depths.
Oh.
You can have surface compaction,
Yeah.
often caused by foot traffic or heavy machinery.
Okay.
And then there's subsurface compaction,
Right.
which happens deeper down.
But the-
It can be caused by things like agricultural practices or construction activities.
But even if the surface looks okay,
Yeah,
there could be drainage issues lurking beneath.
absolutely.
Wow. That's unsettling.
And compaction can have cascading effects.
Oh, okay.
It not only affects water movement,
Right.
but also reduces oxygen availability
Yeah.
for roots and soil microbes,
Okay.
and can even make it difficult for roots to penetrate
Oh, wow.
and grow properly.
So compaction is bad news all around.
Yeah, it's not great.
But surely there are ways to improve drainage, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
There are a range of techniques,
Mhm.
both natural and structural,
Okay.
that can help alleviate drainage problems.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's start with some natural solutions.
I'm all ears.
All right.
I'm always looking for ways to work with nature rather than against it.
Well, one of the most effective natural solutions
Right.
is adding organic matter to the soil.
Right, right.
Remember how we talked about compost being like a moisture magnet?
Yeah, helps the soil retain moisture,
Uh-huh.
but also improves its structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Compost, manure, and other forms of organic matter
Okay.
help to create a more crumbly soil structure
Right.
with those all-important air spaces
Uh-huh.
that allow for better water infiltration and drainage.
So it's like giving the soil a deep conditioning treatment.
That's a great way to put it.
Love it.
Another natural solution is planting cover crops.
Oh, cover crops, yeah.
Certain cover crops, like deep-rooted radishes,
Okay.
can help to break up compacted soil,
Oh, cool.
improving drainage and aeration.
Wow, so those cover crops are like little underground engineers
They are.
working to improve the soil structure.
Yeah, pretty much.
And let's not forget about mulching.
Oh, mulching, yeah.
A good layer of mulch on the soil surface
Mhm.
can help to reduce compaction
Right?
caused by foot traffic and heavy rainfall.
It does.
It also helps to maintain a more consistent soil temperature,
Yeah.
which can further benefit drainage.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got compost, cover crops, and mulch.
Mm-hmm.
All great natural solutions for improving drainage.
They are.
But what about those situations where you need a more structural approach?
Okay.
Like when dealing with a chronically soggy basement.
Oh, right. Like mine.
Well, that's where things get a bit more hands-on.
Okay.
Installing French drains
Oh, yeah. French drain.
is a common solution for redirecting water flow
Okay.
away from buildings and foundations.
I've heard of French drains,
Yeah,
but I'm not exactly sure how they work.
sure.
Can you break it down for us?
Essentially, a French drain is a trench filled with gravel or rock
Yeah.
that's designed to intercept water
Okay.
and channel it away from a specific area.
So it's like creating a subterranean highway for water to follow.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
So the water flows into the trench
Uh-huh.
and then gets carried away to a safe discharge point.
Uh-huh.
French drains can be incredibly effective for addressing drainage issues.
Around foundations, driveways, and even gardens.
So if you're constantly battling a soggy lawn
Mm-hmm.
or a damp basement,
Right.
a French drain might be the solution you've been looking for.
It could be, yeah.
Awesome.
And there are other structural solutions as well.
Oh, like what?
Installing sump pumps,
Okay.
grading the land to redirect water flow,
Right.
or
Wow.
even creating swales.
Swales?
Yeah, which are shallow depressions
Yeah.
designed to slow down and absorb runoff.
Wow. So there's a whole arsenal of drainage solutions out there.
There are.
It's fascinating how much thought and engineering goes into managing something
Yeah.
as seemingly simple as water flow.
It's true.
Right.
And it just highlights how crucial it is
Yeah.
to understand the principles of drainage, whether you're tending a garden, building a house,
Right.
or even just trying to keep your basement dry.
Amen to that.
All right, I'm feeling much more enlightened about the world of drainage now.
Me too.
But before we move on, is there anything else about drainage that
Mhm.
our listeners should keep in mind?
Sure.
Well, one important thing to remember is that drainage isn't just about getting rid of excess water.
Oh,
It's also about ensuring proper aeration for healthy soil.
right. Right. Those anaerobic conditions we talked about.
Exactly.
When the soil is so waterlogged that it can't breathe.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about drainage,
Yeah.
think about creating a soil environment
Uh-huh.
that allows for a healthy balance of air and water,
Right.
just like the Goldilocks principle we discussed earlier.
Okay. That's a great takeaway.
Okay.
Drainage is all about finding that sweet spot
Mm-hmm.
where both plants and the soil ecosystem can thrive.
Yeah, they can.
But speaking of thriving,
Okay.
what about those times when we need to supplement natural rainfall?
Ah, that brings us to the crucial topic of irrigation.
Right.
But I believe that deserves its own dedicated segment.
You're right. We've covered a lot of ground already, literally.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned, listeners, as we delve into the art and science of irrigation.
Yeah, art and science.
In the final part of our deep dive,
It's going to be good.
we'll explore everything from ancient techniques to cutting-edge technology.
It's amazing.
So don't miss it. Welcome back to our deep dive. We've journeyed through water tables, navigated drainage, and now we arrive at the oasis of irrigation.
Ah, yes, irrigation, the art and science of providing water to our thirsty plants.
It's not as simple as just turning on the hose, though, right?
Not quite, no. It's about understanding your plant's needs, your soil quirks, and even the climate you're gardening in.
It's about tailoring the approach.
Exactly. Different plants, different thirst levels. Think of a tomato plant versus, say, a hardy succulent.
Makes sense. And soil type comes into play, too.
Absolutely. Remember those clay soils holding onto water like nobody's business?
And sandy soils, draining super fast.
Precisely. Clay soil. Water less often, but deeply. Sandy soil. More frequent, smaller doses.
It's that Goldilocks zone again, isn't it?
It always is. But then we have the how of watering. So many methods, each with its own quirks.
Let's hear them. What are our options?
Well, there's the classic hand watering. Control freak's dream, but time-consuming for larger areas.
Right.
Sprinklers are popular, mimicking rain, but prone to evaporation loss, especially on windy days.
So a trade-off there. Efficiency versus convenience.
Often, yes. But then we have things like drip irrigation, delivering water slowly, right to the roots.
Less waste, less chance of overwatering.
Exactly. Might need a bit more setup, but can save water and even money in the long run.
Especially in those drier climates.
Yeah.
And speaking of tech, what about those smart irrigation systems?
Ah, yes. Sensors and weather data working their magic. Soil moisture sensors, for instance, only trigger watering when truly needed.
No more guessing games.
Precisely. But even for us low-tech folks, there are great options.
Oh, good.
Mulch, for instance, reduces evaporation from the soil surface.
Right, we talked about its drainage benefits, but it's a water saver too.
Multitasking champion, that mulch. And then there's rainwater harvesting.
Classic, using nature's bounty.
Exactly. Saves water, reduces reliance on municipal supplies, and rainwater is naturally soft. Bonus.
Plants get the royal treatment. But thinking bigger picture, are there larger scale approaches to irrigation?
Absolutely. Water-wise, landscaping is gaining traction, especially in those drought-prone areas.
So choosing plants that can handle a little dryness.
Precisely. And on a larger scale, we have things like regenerative agriculture.
Working with nature.
Exactly. Cover cropping, no-till farming, all that good stuff to boost soil health and water retention.
It's a whole shift in perspective, isn't it?
It is, and it all comes back to those fundamental principles we've been discussing.
Water tables, drainage, soil properties, the interconnectedness of it all.
Right. Whether it's a tiny window box or a vast farm, it's about recognizing that irrigation is more than just delivering water.
It's about nurturing a whole ecosystem.
Precisely. And as we face the challenges of climate change and increasing water scarcity, this understanding becomes even more crucial.
Well said. And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Chapter 4 of Deep Roots.
We've journeyed from the depths of the water table to the art of irrigation, exploring the unseen world beneath our feet.
It's been quite the adventure. We hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for the complexities of water management and soil moisture.
Until next time, happy gardening.